Welcome to the Pro Edition of Hawks Nest. I'm your host, Justin Trevelyan, and I'm joined here with Owen Carando and Caleb Hoggard. And guys, let's just jump right into it here. With the NL race is set. I'm pretty sure every team is in their playoff spot except for that NL West spot. You got the Dodgers and the Giants still seeing who's going to come away with that division, with the loser getting the wild card and coming to face St. Louis. So Caleb, what do you think? What are you thinking about that?
Well, if you're looking at it in the Cardinals standpoint, you kind of want to hope that the Giants fall into the wild card position and face Kevin Gossman, because the rotation that the Dodgers have is what led them to being so successful. Because you have bats like Bellinger, Seager, who was hurt majority of the season. Those bats weren't really heating up. But you have these pitchers, Walker Buehler, Max Scherzer, Julio Urias, are just dominant pitchers in this league. So if the Dodgers can somehow clinch the division in the NL West, Giants fall, Cardinals have the better matchup there and can hope Wainwright goes out there and plays baseball like they have been playing baseball.
Right, and with another team from that division, the Padres, have had sort of a somewhat disappointing season because, they have a very good roster on paper. So, Owen, what do you think has kind of led to their sort of disappointing season?
Well, I mean, really, they had a couple of guys get hurt early on in the season, but you saw at the All-Star break, I mean, they made a trade for Adam Frazier right before the trade deadline. We've seen Cronenworth play shortstop a little bit now as they try to kind of move Tatis into the outfield, and they kind of used that move to protect Tatis's shoulder because he's been on the IL 2 or 3 times this year with that shoulder injury. But I mean, you saw in the series against the Cardinals when Tatis was in center field, they had the bases loaded and nobody out, and it was just a routine pop-up right behind second base, really. And Tatis came in from center and just missed it. So I think that was a big turning point for them in this series. And really, I think that was a big turning point for the Cardinals in general. And another thing I kind of want to hit on is that the Dodgers and Giants are still battling for that first, as we said, that first spot in the NL West. So you're not gonna see their starters sit.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cardinals, who've already clinched the second wild card spot, they have nothing to worry about. All their starters are really, I mean, you'll see them in every now and again here from now until the end of the season, just trying to get a little bit of rest or do a little tune-ups. But they're going to be more well-rested than either this Dodgers or Giants team when it comes to this wild card game.
And then jumping over to the AL, all the division winners are set, but you still have 4 teams vying for that last wild card spot, or those 2 last wild card spots. You got 3 from the AL East, and then you have Seattle coming over, and they're also in it. So, Owen, what do you think to see in these last 3 games? Who do you see coming out on top?
I mean, the Yankees draw a tough matchup facing the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, both Boston and Toronto have much, much easier maps. I mean, Toronto gets the 107-loss Orioles, so I look for Toronto maybe to kind of find their way in from this outside and sneak in, while on the other hand, the Mariners are playing red-hot baseball. The Yankees are also playing red-hot baseball. So maybe you see, if the Yankees lose 2 games this weekend and you see the Mariners win a couple games, it's like, okay, so maybe we're going to see 2 Game 163s for just to decide the wild card game on Monday.
And then if we jump over to the NFL, Thursday Night Football last night, incredible matchup, a national championship rematch between quarterbacks. Caleb, what did you think about the game?
I thought Joe Burrow went out there and played a phenomenal game, and I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence didn't go out there and play good either. Trevor Lawrence peaked 200 yards as Joe Burrow was 2 yards away from throwing for 350. I think the Bengals' offense as a whole looked like a lot more complete than the Jaguars did, and the Jaguars just kind of ruined their offensive game plan by running in moments that didn't be ran. Their clock was ticking the whole game, and you go into halftime, you're leading 14-0. Obviously, if you're the Jaguars, you feel pretty confident about that scenario. Mm-hmm. Then Joe Burrow comes out there and leads the Bengals to 4 straight scoring drives. And if you're the Jaguars and you're Matt Nagy, you can't have that happen. You're not going to win games that way. That's why you're winless as of right now,
Mm-hmm. And then, so with the Bengals, it's sort of a surprising record at 3-1 here. And another team that's been sort of surprisingly not as good would be the home team here at Kansas City Chiefs, who are 1-2 as of right now. Owen, what do you think has been contributing to their kind of disappointing year?
Well, we saw in week 2 the late fumble for Clyde Edwards-Helaire that kind of cost them the game against the Ravens. And really, I mean, Lamar Jackson played phenomenal in that game. They went forward on a 4th and 2, and if you want to win that game, you have to go for it because you're not. If you give Patrick Mahomes a minute 30 or whatever it was to go down the field and get a field goal, he's going to do it. And then in week 3, you kind of see the Chargers just came out hot. I mean, Justin Herbert has looked good. They weren't able to stop Mike Williams. And really for the Chiefs, it's been their defense. Their defense has not been able to really stop their opponents. And then on the other hand, their opponent's defense, they've just been playing an umbrella coverage. I mean, you put 2 high safeties over, so you tell them, hey, we're not going to let Tyreek beat us. And then you have Kelsey here, who the Chargers had a good matchup there where they were able to man up on Kelsey and use the linebacker to cover him. So you take away those 2 guys from that Chiefs offense, and really there was a couple turnovers early on in the game, and the Chiefs had 4 total, but you're just putting too much pressure, I think, on Patrick Mahomes, and he's trying to do a little too much, and that's not how you're going to be able to win a football game.
This has been the Pro Edition of Hawks Nest. I'm Justin Trevelyan. Thanks for watching.